Hi, and welcome to another episode of Relax, I Got This in our Agent to Agent series. And today we are headed to Bayside, Queens, New York. So stay tuned with Erica Rose Siegel.
A real estate transaction is potentially the largest investment we make in our lives. Whether you're buying and selling your personal home or investing in real estate, you need the knowledge to make the right decisions. Get ready. Robin is a Texas realtor and has the experience to give you the information you need to make the right decisions. Welcome to Relax, I Got This with your host, Robin McCoy.
In this episode of our Agent to Agent program, I'm with Erica Rose Siegel, a friend of mine from my mastermind community that I work with every day. And not only has she been a real estate agent for over 16 years, she has built a business networking education group in Bayside that promotes the local business owners and brings everybody together. She's doing it at such a high level. Welcome to my friend, Erica Rose Siegel. So Erica, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so glad you're spending some time with us.
I am so glad I'm here.
So as I've mentioned before, in these agent to agent podcasts that we're doing, Erica is a part of the mastermind community that we are on Zoom every morning. It's 6:30 or it's 7:30 for her. It's 6:30 for me here in the Central Time Zone. But this is just another one of those agents that I know through my connections that is going to tell us more about what, where she is and what that looks like. And she is in Bayside, New York.
Yes, I am in Bayside, New York. My dad raised me here as a single parent, and I've lived here on and off since I'm 4 years old. And since I'm the ripe age of 29, I mean, it's just been only a couple of years or a lot more than a couple, but yeah, I've been
But so you've lived there, you're essentially, you're native, basically.
And when I say I've lived in and around Bayside. So as a matter of fact, before I got into real estate, I think I moved somewhere between 14 and 17 times. I used to know the number, but it was a lot. And then I said, I keep paying people. This doesn't seem to make much sense. So I figured, the next time I move, I might as well have a license to go with it. And then I got the license, and then I haven't, I've only moved once since, so I didn't really.
So it didn't really, go the way you anticipated.
No, but I mean, at least I got the experience of becoming a homeowner, and I'm no longer renting in Bayside versus owning in Bayside or in Queens, because I lived in multiple areas of Queens, which is a borough, and there are 5 of them in New York.
So tell me where Bayside is. So like I said when we were chatting before, it's I think people think of New York City and they'll think of Manhattan. They know Brooklyn, they know Queens, but they don't know. I think that there's cities in Brooklyn, or however that works, or in the borough. So explain that to those of us that don't know.
So glad you asked. So if you're in Manhattan and you are near Penn Station, then a 22-minute train ride from Penn Station is a city called Bayside. So that's one way to get here. Another way is you can either take the Throgs Neck Bridge. That'll also bring you here. We're right off the Throgs Neck Bridge. So that actually takes you into the Bronx on the other side. And then there's the Triborough Bridge, which is a little bit further. It's closer to Astoria, which is also part of Queens. And I service all of Queens and parts of Long Island specifically. Now, my MLS allows me to do all of New York. We have something called One Key MLS. And because I've lived in and around Queens on and off since I'm 4, so, not too long. I've also lived in Long Island, and I've done many events in Long Island. I can comfortably sell in many areas of Queens and Long Island. And I also am super familiar with how to sell co-ops, but sometimes people will come to me and have a need in, say, Brooklyn or the Bronx or Westchester. And while I've been there, I don't take on areas that I'm not super familiar with, unless it might be a co-op, because in that case, all I just need somebody to do is tell me the town, and they can wake me up in the middle of the night and I can sell a co-op, because it's hard to sell those. So sometimes people will just say, the co-op is here. Can you get this to work? And I'm like, yeah, I got you. Yeah. So just Bayside again is part of Queens, and you would think of me as far as real estate for Queens and Long Island. You could always reach out, or you can connect me to any of your folks. And outside of this area, I could tell you who I think would be a good fit, because I've been in the business for 16 plus years.
Yeah, I was going to say you got your license in 2008,
Yep.
as did I. So
Yep.
we are known for our timing, aren't we? When
We are. Yeah.
we get that license, and then we learned, trial by fire, and both still here to talk about it, right?
We are. Yeah. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what does real estate look like? You mentioned co-op, and I know you've got you've got all kinds of different kinds of properties. So what are some of those?
So let's see, on my block alone, we literally, like when I say on my block, if you're to go, I live on an avenue, and then on that avenue, there are different streets. So I'm in the 40s, on an avenue in the 40s, and then there are streets in the 200s. So you could literally in the 40s go from, like, let's just say 210 to 220. You could hit up in that like 10 block radius, multiple types of property. That includes, but not limited to, because I feel like I'll probably cover them all in that block, in that 10 block radius. But just in case, it might be a little bit further left or around the corner. But there could be rentals. So like a one family house could have the ability to rent it. Or there could be a house that has 2 or 3 families, and you can rent a part of the home. There are people that house people in their basement, which isn't legal in our state. So actually, I should say in our city, and in our borough, and yeah. So it's not legal to house individuals in basements here. And that happens because it's expensive, and other. So people will sometimes put grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, cousin, somebody in a place that's not necessarily designed for that number of families because it's less expensive, and they don't have a proper permit to try to save money. But then that could actually impact people quite a bit if there's, a fire, an emergency.
I was going to say, the safety issues.
So on our block, we have a lot. I don't want to say a lot. Please don't, whatever streets we're on. I just know it exists, right? There are people doing what they do. And then we have buildings. So some of them are 6-story. That's a mid-rise. Then there's a high-rise that's maybe like 12 stories. And that stories, in case you're really basic to real estate, means like how many floors. So a 6-story would be 6 floors. A 12-story would be 12 floors. At least in our state. I'm a former classroom teacher, so I'm just getting really nitty-gritty here. Some of them are, they have a walk up. So I'm in a 3-story walk up. That means no elevator. You walk to the first floor, you're just in. The second floor, you walk up a flight. The third floor, you walk up 2 flights.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. The second floor is 2 flights. You guys got it.
I got you. You're taking the stairs.
Yeah, you're taking the stairs. So, and then there's also, those type of units that have an elevator. And then there's also mixed use properties. So mixed use look like you have a commercial space, which means you can have a business in it. And then simultaneously, you can have a residential space. And in our area, you have to live where it's designed to live, and you have to work where it's designed to work. You cannot swap that. It's not allowed.
Okay.
And actually, do people do it? Yes, but it's not really allowed. And when you do it, could come with fines. And then with the 6-story, the 12-story, the 3-story, the buildings, the 2-story, it could be a co-op or a condo or a rental. So a rental, right? So there's just like a lot going on. So if you're looking to move to New York, I'm a former classroom teacher, got a 4.0, my master's degree in teaching.
So you can do that. You can explain it.
And like ask me, what just happened over here? There's a lot going on. We're here to educate you. I have a whole questionnaire, what you must have, don't want, like, what do you need to have in a property? What's most important to you? What's your best way of communicating? Like, what's your availability? Why
all
do you
the
need
things.
all the things, right? So that then you might think, oh, I really need a waterfront. And then by the time we fill that whole thing out and you're like, oh, it's what price to do waterfront? A bathtub is great. As a matter of fact, I'll just take a shower. You know what? I'll use someone else's shower because it's just I'm going to see if I can go get married and we'll get it together. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll get a gym membership. I'll shower at the gym.
There's no need to have a bathroom. As a matter of fact, I'll just take my car. I'm just kidding. So, but going back to then the different price that, you know, if you're in a building, you could be a co-op, a condo, it could be a mixed use, or it could be a rental. So rental,
is that the different units or the whole building is a co-op, the whole building is a
condo. Well, it's the whole building.
Okay. The way you said that, my mind went to, well, this unit's a co-op and that unit's a condo.
And I could say building, but then there are also complexes. So there are certain places, and I'm trying to find something to show you. And the things I was going to grab were going to be like makeup. And that's, you know, really, if you imagine like this, right? So these two, and then you have all around the neighborhood, things like that look like this. This is top floor. I'm sorry. This is the first floor. This is the second floor. And they're just all over, situated in an area. And this entire area is one complex. It could be 500 units, 700 units, 1,400 units, 1,700 units, 20.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Right. And they're all the same. So
okay.
They're all the same kind. So the like kind will stick together. And then they all have their own rules. Like, you know, the eyeshadow goes on the eyes, and this, whatever the situation, goes somewhere else. So when you go to the units, you're like, oh, that's a brown building with a yellow roof and like a green door. We don't really have things like that. But let's just say, you're like, oh, okay, that's that complex. Those are that complex's rules. So every single complex has their own rules.
Sure. Because they just do. So what is the difference between a condo and a co-op?
So I'm so glad you asked. A co-op is owning shares in a building. So you don't technically own your apartment. You own shares, kind of like stock, except in a building, right? So it's not a piece of paper, and the property value could go up and down. And there's a board that gets to make decisions when major things happen, like should we increase the maintenance? Should we replace the fencing? Should we allow this unit to become pet friendly? Should we put a tax on the building when we sell, so that this way we don't have so much transient, you know, every 2 years somebody just wants to move out, so let's have them pay a fee. Should we not allow for them to rent it out? Like, no, it's called subletting. So a co-op has more rules than a condo. Their maintenance is usually higher. And then, and there's also, that's because there's maintenance here, and then you're buying into an area where people are caring for and looking after the building in a different way, and they're volunteers. So the board is a set of volunteers that are looking after the building, and then they hire usually a management company to look after the financials, make sure if repairs need to be made, that the budget makes sense. But if they also screen the applicants before they come through, so they make sure that you have reportable income, that your assets are properly sourced.
Because all of that sounds like a condo to me in Dallas. That's kind of the whole thing. Until you said that the board kind of reviews applicants. So do you have to apply to buy one of these?
Yes, you have to apply. There's a fee. The fee is usually not refundable. The application is requires a thorough background check.
And that's to purchase. That's to buy it, not rent it.
Yep, to purchase a thorough background check.
That's the big difference.
Yes, bank statements, W-2s, assets, references, an interview in front of people or on Zoom. And so it's pretty thorough. And then they're much more affordable, because in a in a condo or in a house, the only concern that the seller has, or potentially the management company has, is that your money, like let's just say this is your money, is going from here to here, and that's all that matters. And they don't necessarily look at, well, do you have a job that, I don't even want to say job because that's just over broke. Do you have a way to earn income that it's going to sustain you? So in case of you get hurt, you get sick, you get laid off, and that you can carry the maintenance for 6 to 12 months on your own. Because if you don't pay for it, the rest of the complex kind of steps in and is, they have reserves. So it's not like tomorrow
Huh.
afternoon, but over time, it would be our responsibility as shareholders to kind of fork over that money if
Right.
that's a concern. So there's a much
Interesting.
deeper screening process. But then, if you have a traditional or, a career or way of earning income, if you have, W-2s that show solid income and you have bank statements that show that your money's been sourced and your credit is showing that you're paying bills, every month, then getting something that you don't physically feel any different inside it. So I live in a co-op
Okay.
and it's sometimes 50%, maybe even 70% less to buy a co-op than it is a condo in the same area.
That's great. I mean, it just the thought of, okay, I'm going to buy this, these walls and everything within it, but you're going to check and see if I mean, I get the lender does that, but that the board of this building does that's what is very different than anything. Hi, I'm Robin McCoy, a Texas realtor for over 15 years. As the adult child of a senior needing to make a living change, I know firsthand the stress that can be involved in guiding our seniors and their families through the challenging decisions surrounding senior living. From adapting your current home for aging in place to finding the right senior community, I provide comprehensive support tailored to your unique needs. By offering these specialized services, I aim to make the transition to senior living as smooth as possible, providing you and your family with peace of mind and confidence in every decision. For more information, go to robinmccoyseniorsolutions.com and let me take some of the stress of senior moves away. Relax, I've got this. Just the thought of, okay, I'm going to buy this, these walls and everything within it, but you're going to check and see if I mean, I get the lender does that, but that the board of this building does that's what is very different than anything.
Yeah, because a lot of
I
the
have
times
seen.
the lenders don't necessarily do a thorough. They do a very thorough, I should say.
My lenders do. I feel like
a whole other level because they want to see how are you in your last building. Your lender's not checking your landlord tenant references from the previous building.
No.
So were you, a troubled tenant or a troubled
Wow.
buyer from somewhere else?
So you better act right wherever you live because the next one may not let you in because you didn't act right.
Exactly. And they will check on those references. They ask you to supply references. And so for me, knowing that where I live, the people that live here had a thorough background check, that's kind of like a sense of security. Because
I was going to say, it probably gives you a sense of confidence that, you don't have a serial killer living, upstairs.
I mean, as far as I know, I wasn't on the, I wasn't on the application process. They do actually check criminal history. I know for a fact. Mm-hmm.
But, so it just gives you a little bit more confidence,
So a bit more affordable to do that. But then the condo has property taxes and they have maintenance. And when you do any changes in the co-op, you have to get board approval for any renovations, anything where you do plumbing, electrical, or moving of walls, you need board approval, which it gives me another sense of security because I know that my neighbors aren't just calling over their cousin to be like, I was thinking I should take out that wall. Like it looks.
And then all of a sudden, their living room is in your living room because
right.
That was
and, and then you might have insurance, but that could be a couple years. So some of the condos are starting to get a little bit stricter with some of the things, but that's the co-ops definitely are. There's a process for everything, and then the process gives you a sense of security that there's a process.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So that's I've learned something here today. I did not, I heard all you guys talking about co-ops. I'm like, what is that? Now I know. So one of the big things about you that I know is that you really, Bayside's your home. You've lived there for a really long time, and that community is very, very important to you.
Yeah.
And, you've got your Best of Bayside t-shirt on. So you created what was started out as just kind of a networking group for businesses to get to know each other. That's kind of exploded. Is that right?
Yeah. So, what had transpired was originally I looked around. I've been in business for 16 years. I've gone to so many networking organizations, networking events, just training events. And I noticed that like when you meet people and you call them the next day and you're like, hey, what's up? We met yesterday, or hey, how's it going? My name's Erica. You're Robin. I know that you do this and I do that. I was just wondering, maybe we could sit down, have a coffee, get to know each other a little more and see how we could do business together. And let's just say you weren't in real estate per se, but you were a contractor, you were an attorney, you were a mechanic, a hairdresser. The other end, the person on the other end, the majority of them would be like, why don't you just call me when you have a need for whatever they do? So I was like, you know what? I don't know you. So like, I'm not sure how I would make that work. So can I get to know you on a more deeper, intimate, connected level so that I can feel comfortable and confident that I could send you business? And a lot of people were just kind of like, well, I don't got time. So if you don't, like, it's okay. And not everybody. So the ones that didn't do that in my 16-year career started becoming my friends. So because you spend a lot of time together, you then doing business together, you become friends. And then we got really isolated during the pandemic, stopped going to networking events, stopped doing all the things, or at least I did, maybe other people didn't. And then I started to go to networking events again. And it was like, oh, here we are. It's like 50 first dates. It's the same thing all over again. I'm going and I'm meeting people, but I'm just kind of like, I don't understand. I'm not trying to be tough over here. Like, I just want to get to know you.
So it's almost like a spray and pray, right? They just spray and pray their business cards.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I was like, I actually do not take business cards. If they don't have a virtual business card, I just tell them to please figure out how to do that. Because if I have a paper business card of yours, it's going to go in my pocket, go in the laundry, and I'm never going to see it again. So, and I see it happen. Like I'm like, it's going in my pocket, going in the laundry, never going to see it again. So I started just, I started teaching people in the community just how to grow their business using social media, networking, and the community. And this was last year, June 18th of last year was my first free event. And
so we're almost on your.
I know, so crazy. So I brought like 30 something people together in a room, and they didn't just arrive. I'm a former event planner with the American Cancer Society. I actually earned a bonus for the amount of money that I raised for the American Cancer Society. Nothing substantial, but they don't really give out bonuses for American Cancer. They just like, well, here's $500. Like
they're over there trying to cure cancer. They can't give you a big.
Yeah, but like I did so much in that time frame that they're like, here. So and then I'm a former classroom teacher, so I knew. Fill a room. I had to knock the doors. I won an award for door knocking with my previous firm. So I know how to knock the doors, except I went to businesses and I said, hey, my name is Erica. I'm a local business owner. I'm, part of a networking organization. Just wanted to extend an invitation. I'm going to be teaching how to grow your business using social media, networking, and the community. So I knocked the doors, handed out flyers, put stuff in social media, sent emails, sent text messages, made phone calls, just started inviting. And we filled the room, 35 people. And then they were like, oh, when's your next one? I'm like, what? And so it wasn't like this was not a thing. This was like, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, thank you for coming. It really took everything out of my being to get you in the room. I had slides, I had interaction, I had activities. Like, it was not something that I had the bandwidth to do on a regular. So they asked me for the next one. I was like, oh, we want to come back.
Oh,
I didn't know about that. So then I was like, okay, we'll do this again. Knocking the doors, handing the flyers, doing all the things. And then I'm like, people started calling me. I didn't have a t-shirt. I didn't have a hat. I had a t-shirt, just not this one. The second event, here we are. Didn't plan for it. They asked me for it. So then I asked the community to help. I was like, who wants to take this street, that street, knock this door, make this calls? And everybody said they wanted to help. But when it came time to, because it wasn't their, like income producing activity.
Right.
They, oh yeah, I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance to make those phone calls. I didn't have a chance to make those emails. I didn't have a chance to hang those flyers. I left them in the library. I thought people would find them. I'm like, no, my instruction was to go to the door.
Yes, teacher Erica.
I was like, here, I know it worked. Success leave clues, as Tony Robbins says. So if I know that when I put flyers on windows in businesses, people see them and then they want to attend. So I said, go put flyers on windows and people will see them and then they will attend. They thought, I'll just leave them in the library. And I'm like, but that's not what we did. That was not part. So you could do that, but I just spent money on the flyers and I thought they were going to be somewhere. So I just said, okay, I love that people want to help. But the problem is, unless they're getting paid, totally get it. Unless they like have stake in a company, totally get it. They're going to do it when they have the bandwidth to do it. Realtors are community connectors. So people were always coming to me for just things. And so I realized, if I'm going to do this and I'm asking just volunteers to do things in the neighborhood who have no stake in the game, they're just
Right.
like, all right, I'll do it when I can.
Right.
Mom, a wife, I'm a business owner, I've got a sick mom, all the things. I was left to doing it on my own all the time. So
And you have a business to run, and you have the, so yeah.
everything, right? All the things. So therefore, I was still doing it. And I'm like, okay. And I'm not Mother Teresa. Like, I love giving back to the community. But I girls got to eat. So, and people wanted more. So I'm like, I really, really want to help. And how do I do this without like sacrificing my business? And
Right.
when I say the word sacrifice, I don't mean it that I didn't want to give back. It's just that when you sell a house versus you organize an event in New York, I mean, we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. And then you go to an event and it's free, or even if it's a small event, it's, maybe whatever it's going to cost to do that. I wasn't making to the same, it's not equal.
Right. Right. Right.
So I built something, and I wanted to just figure out how I could just do this little thing that was just, do some classes on how to grow your business using social media, networking in the community.
It's just an opportunity so that you can connect with business owners you don't already know. It's like a connection.
Right. And then the community I don't know. And the opportunity turned into 50 paid members, 50.
Wow.
We literally built the business in October, launched the business in October, or website in October, had our first paid event in December. And when I say like had a website that was up, but not fully functioning, because I just wanted to have something, and then
some presence.
Yeah. And then it just kept rolling because it looked so, thankfully the person who built it for me is an expert. The website store NYC, he spent 20 years in the business, 5,000 clients worldwide. And then he helped start this. And then we transitioned to another developer, also amazing human. And he's supporting us 12 years in the business, 2,000 clients. I might have those numbers wrong, but whatever. And they are super helpful. But the community the website's awesome. You can blog, you can post events, you can share ideas, it's a connection. So it's a directory instead of going to various Facebook groups, which is what a lot of us realtors do, and family friends. You get a group and you're like, hey, I'm looking for a mechanic, a hairdresser, I'm looking for a babysitter. You don't know if that's actually someone that is reputable or just somebody's cousin's aunt's uncle, sister, brother, mom.
Right.
So I then decided to kind of put people together and start doing events. We now do a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner once a month. We've done a singles event. We've done a happy hour. So it started out just for businesses, but then people were like, oh, what about me? What are we doing this weekend? I'm like, who's me? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm here for the businesses. What just happened? And so 1,100 people in our Facebook group.
I mean, I just think that's kind of phenomenal that, like you said, first you said, as realtors, we are connectors, right? We get phone calls all the time.
Be the leader you know you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
I mean, I just think that's kind of phenomenal that, like you said, first you said, as realtors, we are connectors, right? We get phone calls all the time. I got one that said, Robin, how do I change my last name now that I'm married? And I went, well, I don't know, because I didn't do it. I kept my name, right? Or, where can I get a nice little plant for a gift? I'm like, Trader Joe's has really cute ones right when you walk in. But this is why people call us, because we know all the people.
Right. And one of my VIP clients, an example, there was a business owner, this is bringing it back to real estate. So business owner came here, and I say VIP, each of my best of Bayside clients has a different place in my heart. And I was so nervous about even sharing with them. I did real estate at first because when I built this, I wanted to make sure they joined if they chose to do this, not as like, hi, I need to be a realtor or else.
Right.
So I built it with really not having this hat on, literally, not telling anyone that that was my bread and butter. And I just really wanted to say, hi, like we're doing this thing and it might be beneficial to you, if you want to get involved.
Yeah.
And then, slowly but surely people are like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. Tell me more. And I found out that there's the owner of Stretch Lab Bayside was following us for, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months. And when I say us, me, on my real estate Instagram. And then all of a sudden this community Instagram, Best of Bayside, got built. And she was following there too. Did not put 2 and 2 together. I think that I was the same, or maybe, but then we connected. She said, oh, I realtor, I get it. She must know a lot of people. And then I brought her out in the community when she opened she signed the lease for her location. She wasn't even open yet. I knew the location, spot. And I introduced her to neighbors, not because they all knew me yet, but they all knew of me or I knew of them. And I could say at the corner of this is this. So then I helped her as a business owner create 3 pop-up locations to launch her business, and then do multiple events that month with each of those locations. And then from there, then she had then referrals that she needed for her business, and then connected other folks. Then people are joining. How do you do this? How do I do this? Why do I do this? So now we even have, I've won awards for door knocking. I now bring other business owners out in the community and I knock doors, and we literally say, hi, this is, an acupuncturist. I'd like you to meet them. This is Brian Kelly from Enzo Acupuncture, or this is Francisco from Supreme Massage NYC, or this is Deanna, the Reiki practitioner. So I'm going door to door. And when I finally started telling people I sell real estate at meetings, because I realized we're having so many of these events, I kept asking for more. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I said, here's the thing. I have to make sure that you guys don't forget that I'm in business of selling real estate, because
my business isn't organizing events. My business is selling
calling me an event organizer. That's what the whole community is. Oh, the event organizer, the business coach, this. And so then when I built this, I didn't say it at first. And then I said, okay, I'm going to make sure that everyone who I do business with knows, and not to feel uncomfortable if they already have their person. Just like if you're watching this and you're seeing this wherever you're finding this podcast, you're like, oh, but I already have a realtor. This is not needed for me. You might learn something about Bayside, Queens, or New York City real estate, or, Texas real estate. It doesn't matter. You're just going to learn something. And then you take it back to your own realtor. And if you ever need a 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 12th opinion, you can come back here. And that's what I said to the people here. And my clients, my Best of Bayside clients, are so happy that I'm now doing that. And then my real estate clients are actually saying, I've been following you and what you're doing. This is awesome. And it's helping me in my business of real estate, because it's now event planning, connecting, a resource directory. Many of these people don't just service Bayside. So then I can know who I could connect in with in another location.
And it's huge. You've got to be building their business and their customer base. And therefore, but you're connecting your customers to the Stretch Lab lady, and, her customers, I got to sell my house. I'm moving to Dallas. Well, you need to call Erica. And, that's how relationships work. That's how business works.
Well, and the most wonderful thing happened this weekend that I literally cried when I witnessed it. So we volunteered and we gave back for the St. Mary's for Children's, St. Mary's Big Hearts Walk. So children who have long-term, illnesses, or just maybe dealing with some sort of very challenging illness. They have a hospital that treats them. And so we raised some funds, we had a table, and then there was a festival right in our town. And as a realtor, knowing what's available, I've been in business for 16 years. The hospital I didn't even know about. Yeah. And yet I'm like, how is that possible? It's because the marketing was missing for them to be in front of me. So now, as having this marketing background, I can help them fundraise. They're like, we can't wait to tell you about the next event because
You're like,
I brought them so many people. And also we did a spinner wheel. So we raffled off 16 different promotions, and then they could spin the wheel and you could land on a business. And then from that business, you then got that promotion or discount. We had 171 people register, and we were out from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Wow. Took like a 90-minute break to go from one location to the next, because it was a walk for children to raise money for children with illnesses, then a street fair for the community. And what I realized from doing all that is that when I announced I'm in real estate, like on the wheel, like you could land on, and they could either get like skincare or real estate, or they could get, maybe it's a discount from Tropical Smoothie, or they could get acupuncture. So when they landed on my wheel, the first person, it was a 10-year-old kid. And I had to explain to him, I'm like, okay, your choices are like facial or wax removal or eyelashes or thread, this 10-year-old boy. And I'm like, you could do it for mom, or you could do it for, your aunt, sister, cousin, like whatever. You could do it for yourself. I was like, or, you could get a book about how to buy a home and a consultation about how to become a homeowner. And I just looked at him very just naturally. And he said, well, my mom and dad talked about buying home. And he looked at his mom and he's like, Ma, do you want to buy a home? And I was standing there, I had my sunglasses on. So I'm now crying because I can't. And he's like, Ma, can we buy a home? Let's go for the home. I felt like I was on The Price is Right.
Door number 1 or door number 2.
Right. So he's like, we're going to do the home. And I'm like, okay, let's do the home. And then he's like, yes, let's do the home. And then I said, so just so you know, I put you down for the home and I'm going to be a realtor. He's like, Ma, she's going to be our realtor. Yes, I am. And I had no idea that I almost didn't put myself on the wheel, because it was massages, facials, dancing. Now I got to buy a book. I mean, building this business, I have loans taken out to have built this business so I can give back to my community. And I'm going to go buy books that are $15. We're buying the Gary Keller home. My
first home. Yeah.
My first home, right. So I saw it. I was like, okay, I don't really have the budget for this, but I guess if they land on me and they sit with a consultation, okay. So I just went I'll just do it. And it was so meaningful because there were several people who actually landed on that and turned and said, I guess the adults, when I had this hat on, they were like, so just so you know, I don't really need a house, so I'm going to go with the other one. I said, I would too, because I own a home. Don't feel bad. And so I'm like, just so you know. And they're like, oh, okay. And they said, but can I call you if we do know someone who has a real estate? I said, yes. So now I'm just being a giver. And I'm giving myself. And that's what I, bringing this all back. We have to pour into ourselves. So I gave back, and now the community, they show up, they stood out. One guy, the massage therapist, he volunteered for 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the street, signing up people. One of our volunteers, our clients, a business owner, he came just to say hi for a little while. He got behind the table to spin the wheel because there was such a line for 4 hours because it was so busy. So we are providing income into the community because we just brought all this to the businesses. Then we bring up the real estate value by bringing up income, because I turned around at times and we see a business owner who decides to rent a space or buy a building, build a business. That's their dream. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they didn't get the proper training, education, coaching, mentorship, marketing, technology, resources, and then their business fails. So I'm now a part of business growth, which is amazing. And
it is. When you think about this business that's doing X, and there's business over here that does Y, that could help each other, but they don't know each other.
They don't know. That's exactly what's happening.
They're next door to each other and they don't know.
This is precisely what happened. So the owner of Stretch Lab, Lou, has received significant training on social media because Stretch Lab is corporate. The owner of Belformal Wear, 60 years in the business, which is huge to have a business for 60 years, didn't know how to do something on social media. And they were asking me, and I was 6 blocks away. I said, can you walk 4 doors down? Can you ask Lou how to do that simple thing? And then the owner of Stretch Lab, Lou, then handed Dimitri, the owner of Bell Formal Wear, tuxes and suits for when you are, when you need it for a wedding, an event, what
Right.
have you. So they were helping each other. He took her flyers and she taught him a little bit on social media. So here is this like, hi, do you have the salt? Do you have a scissor? Do you have a, can you watch my thing? So I'm watching this. I'm like, they're like, it's not networking. We're friend working. So I've actually told people, if you are planning to renew your membership next year, be ready to be friends with people in this community and actually want to, develop relationships, because it's relationship building. Because if not, I'm just going to ask you not to renew your membership. I do not want competition. I do not want like people just like, even when you go back to buying a home, this isn't like, here, you're going to give me the key and I just think that you're going to do all the work as a realtor.
Right.
This is a like collaborative effort. We are walking hand in hand every step of the way. I'm an educator. I'm going to help you. I'm going to have a team with my contractor, my attorney. Maybe you need like, people might need therapists. Like you're going through some stuff, divorce, downsizing. Maybe you need someone to declutter your house. Maybe you fell because you're elderly. So you need something, related to surgery. You now have resources in us, and you have to trust like the connector, whether it's over here in New York, over by you, like wherever it is they have a need, trust the realtor as the source, the hub. We just happen to have built.
Yes, we are. We're the hub on the wheel and all the spokes, because we do, like you said, we're the one that has the roofer and the contractor, and we go buy gifts for people. So I know where the plants are, and I go, we just know this stuff just by the nature of what we do every day.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, well, I've always done it. And people have called me Angie's List. They've called me like,
Erica's List.
Yeah, Erica's List. Yeah. So now it's like we've created the best of Bayside. And then they can actually, there's a place on our website where you can actually review. And instead of just going to that was not a word. Instead of going to Yelp or Google, you can go to Yelp or Google and you can rate. But sometimes Yelp or Google or any of the other ones, someone puts up a bad review. It's not even true. And then it's impacting the whole business. And so we do actually reputation management, that if somebody goes on our website or our Instagram or our Facebook or somewhere and writes something poorly about your business, we investigate it for you to find out, is that like, something that's true or not true? And what can we do to take that off with integrity, because you didn't really own it? So that this way it doesn't, somebody sees one bad thing and they think you're bad, but that just could be they had a bad experience because they weren't doing their job with you.
Right. Exactly.
Or they don't even know you and they just wanted to
They didn't know you. They just, I don't understand the people that find humor and fun and just writing, bad reviews about their food was cold. But it's like, well, but your milkshake is supposed to be cold, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So
I just think what you're doing, just to really bring this back to you and this opportunity, is such a gift, because folks should know that you are giving with such grace. The relax, I got this is such a great like tagline or mantra, because if you're buying or selling anywhere in the globe, you can, you can ask Robin and ask her for a resource. She'll get you. And she's bringing folks on to this platform who've got this. Like if I can, manage 2 businesses and also all the things around it, like people come to me in this process and have told me as a realtor some things like, I had to sell my Rolex to not lose my business, or I had to, and I'm like, well, at least you didn't sell your kid. Like, and I'm thinking that out loud, but then I get into their like world and I hug and I love them.
Yeah.
People who have to make that decision. Like I can't lead them, so I'm like, let's get grounded. And then I also like have people who are celebrating, they're doing great things. And there's all the gamuts of struggling and then awesomeness. And so I have the honor of the privilege, as do you, whatever we're going through in that move to create a home sweet home, we can help every step of the way. So I just think that's the joy of what I think we do. Yeah. Is it's not always easy. I was doing another one of these interviews, and it's like, it's not like, hi, you want to buy a house? Okay, here's the keys. There's a lot of stuff in between, and there's a lot of steps. And I always tell my clients, it'll be fun, then it'll be not fun, and then it'll be fun again. That's so funny. So when it's not fun, I go, remember when I told you it wasn't going to be fun? This is that part.
but it's going to be fun again. We just got to get through this.
It's so funny. I just had somebody who referred me. She's a former, she was a work for a mortgage company. So did her son. I think he's actually technically still licensed. And they used to be in New York. She moved to Florida. I gave her a referral for that. Her son moved to New Jersey. I gave them her referral for that. So they both closed within the past 2 months. She called me today to thank me again. What a great job. Literally, this is 20 minutes before we started. And interesting part is like hearing how involved and what he had said he was hoping. I was like, what are you most looking forward to, like, in the process? This was a year ago, because it took some time for him to get his bonus, to get himself together, for mom and dad to get themselves together, or mom and new fiance, excuse me. What are they most looking forward to? He was kind of like, when it's over. He's like, I don't expect this to be wonderful. I don't expect it to be exciting. I don't expect to enjoy it. So like on the closing day, I said, how do you feel? He's like, it's over. I was like, oh, great. I did my job.
I did my job.
And her and I spoke. She said, you did a 10++. He wanted it over. It's over. I was like, I did my job. And then
that's awesome.
But knowing that everybody's got different needs, everybody has different desires. And if you can really recognize that, then you can give people what they need, and you can be a global resource for real estate the way you are. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. This is, a fun thing for me to do. And as we wrap up, I just want to say that anybody that is not just looking to move in or out or around Bayside area, but if you're a business owner in the Bayside area, you need to reach out to Erica. And of course, we're going to have all of her contact information in the show notes and all of those things. If you wanted to try and do something like this yourself in your community in Oklahoma or wherever you are, I looked at her website. It's a nice, it's concise. It is a directory. She's got interviews almost such as this with with the business owners in her area. And it's just community connection. And I think you have taken that to a whole new level in business, because we've lost so much of it over the years.
I appreciate that. And you actually, just so you know, a couple of our members don't even live in Bayside. They actually have a way to service Bayside. And so I make sure that it's something that they are really I'm not just going to take your money because, I need to pay somebody off, or I want to whatever. But if you're a value adder, maybe you're a company that's extending in the Bayside area or expanding into the Bayside area, or you're looking to open a location in the Bayside area, that would work. And then as far as like real estate wise, whether it's Queens or Long Island, like I wore this shirt because I'm super ridiculously proud of what I built. And I wanted to inspire and motivate people to do it anywhere where they have a need. To think of doing something like this.
Sure.
I'm model off it, because I doubt I'm going to be going anywhere else anytime soon to do the model everything and just rip off and duplicate and do the whole thing the best of your ability. And I might teach a training course on how to go do that. But know that Queens and Long Island, I'm happy to help. Business owners, I shout you out and celebrate you. And Robin, for this opportunity, I'm eternally grateful.
Well, that's awesome. And I am so glad we got to spend this time together. And hopefully I will see you in real life soon at an event. See you soon.
I hope so. I look forward to it. And just make sure you're following this channel for all things that you need real estate.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Relax, I Got This, our Agent to Agent series, where we were in Bayside, New York. So we'll see you next time, and have a great day.
Thanks for joining us for Relax, I Got This with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests, and to access your free buyer and seller guides. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This with Robin McCoy.